And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Daniel, don't say that yet, please. Do not say that until after the Indiana game coming up later this week. It's Joe Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week. You can say that. That's okay. We're going to win 10 straight. Wherever you get your podcasts. On this week's Pop Culture Cosmos, Josh and I, we go ahead and talk about the Ghostbusters winning at the box office. Also take a closer look at the franchise. Plus, we've been binging a ton of television. Got to go ahead and check out our thoughts on The Gentleman and Three Body Problem on Netflix also as well. Halo Season 2, The Masters of the Air, and more. Go ahead and check out the Pop Culture Cosmos wherever you get your podcasts. Also as well, Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Chris Sardieri and I, we talked about the NFL free agency and how it affects you out there in fantasy football. So go ahead and check out Inside Sports Fantasy Football. And also as well, of course, want to go ahead and give a mention to Joe Soro. I'm hoping he'll be on tonight. We'll see. I haven't heard from him all night, but you do hear him on LakersBall.com. It's Ox9247 and Simblades with a Y.com. Also as well, Lakerholics and Lakerholics.com. Our good friends Jamie Sweet and Tom Laker Tom himself. Go ahead and check them out today. John Costa hopefully be stopping by as well. You know he's the guy behind, of course, Lakers Corner and Clutch Talk. Also, of course, Empire Jeff TV. He stopped on by our playback. Of course, Lakers in 5. Daniel Barry Sports Highlights. Yo, also as well, John McCallion. Please support these great places. And while you're there, please go ahead and support us as well by liking, following, and subscribing. Subscribe today to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. And to the person who complains, who I know who you are, because I was reading up on all these back comments, complain about the intros. These are people that are part of the Lakers community. These are things that I do in my shows, and I need to get the word out. I want more people to listen, so you might like it. Plus, also appreciating the people out there in the Lakers community that work hard on their product. So if you can't like that, go somewhere else. But we're here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. So it is Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for watching, listening. The Lakers come into tonight, closing out the homestand here at the Crypt. And I'll tell you what, it was the Lakers coming into tonight, needing the victory before they go out on a long road trip with not one, but two back-to-backs starting Tuesday in Milwaukee. They're played tonight against the Indiana Pacers, the high-octane Pacers. The first time they've seen the Pacers since the IST, the in-season tournament final here in Vegas. How would it go at the Crypt? Well, the Lakers, and first off, they got up to okay, but then they gave up at the end of the first quarter a big run to the Pacers because their defense failed them. Just couldn't rotate well on D. Their transition D looked bad. They couldn't get, as far as the rebounds, got a lot of second chance points, and also as well, the outside shooting and transition for the Pacers got them an early lead, but the Lakers came back. A lot of it due to the Lakers being aggressive and taking the ball to the basket and garnering a ton of free throws. That was pretty much the difference in the ball game. Lakers, 38 of 43 from the line. Indiana, 9 of 16 from the line. You know, a lot of people are going to talk about that. This was a flashback to what the league was like just a couple months ago, before Adam Silver put the clamp down and told the refs to stop calling as many fouls. Well, they called a ton of fouls tonight. The Lakers cannot complain about the fouls that were called tonight. They got 43 opportunities to go ahead and get points, and they took advantage of it, outscoring again 38-9 in free throws. And the Lakers, even though they gave up a nice 19-point lead early in that fourth quarter, they held on barely, but they still held on with a 150-145 shootout over the Indiana Pacers, a team that loves these kind of games. And the Lakers tonight, again, not focusing as much as I liked on the defensive end. Again, a lot of problems there. Switching was a problem. Pascal Siakam, who had a good game tonight for the Indiana Pacers, 36 points for him. He found himself in a bunch of mismatches with Laker guards, as once again, Ham not emphasizing bigger players need to stay on Siakam, and he was scoring a lot. Also, as well, TJ McConnell was wreaking havoc on the Lakers as far as on their guards, but the Lakers did persevere, even though they managed to give up most of a 19-point lead in that second half. Anthony Davis, 36 points, 16 rebounds. LeBron James, 26 and 10. Not the greatest shooting day for him, but 26 and 10. Spencer Dinwiddie with the big game for him. He needed to come out in place of D'Angelo Russell, who was out with a non-COVID illness. He needed to come and produce, and he did so tonight. 26 big points for him. Austin Reeves shook off some rust early in the first quarter. Again, problems on the defensive end, came up with a big recovery block in the fourth quarter, and 25 points and 8 assists for him. Taurean Prince chipped it within 14, and the Lakers do get the victory, 150-145. We'll just say it's a win for the Lakers. We'll go say they escaped, they outscored, outshot, and the free throws were the key for the Lakers because they were getting killed on second chance points. The Lakers were, again, another issue for them there. But I'll tell you what, it was good to see the Lakers with the victory tonight, 150-145. Absolutely fantastic to see them get the victory. They're now 39 and 32. They are still in ninth place in the Eastern Conference. Looking forward to seeing if we can get them even higher on the road. But again, the task is daunting as of now because the Lakers are 39 and 32. With the victory tonight, though, the good news is that they separated themselves even further from the Golden State Warriors. They're now 2.5 games in front and 2 games up in the loss column in the Western Conference. So ninth place is looking more and more like the Lakers, where they will end up. They're still 2.5 games behind the Dallas Mavericks and the Sacramento Kings, but you got to remember they're 3 games back in the loss column. And remember, Sacramento has the tiebreaker. Phoenix also with 29 losses, 3 losses ahead of the Los Angeles Lakers. So a lot of work has to be done. And the Lakers, who are the worst of the 10 teams in the Western Conference on the road, have to start winning on the road to get this thing done. So we'll see what happens there. But great to have you here. It is the Lakers Fast Break. Louis says, you guys keep downplaying the Lakers as long as they got LeBron and the refs. That makes the Lakers dangerous in the players. Well, they got the refs tonight. The Lakers were aggressive by far and away. And again, the difference was at the free throw line. I know you're complaining, Louis, about the way the refs had the way they handled today. I'm sure Rick Carlisle will be complaining as well. But the Lakers, again, the more aggressive team got the calls tonight, and the Lakers get the victory 150-145. And here today to talk about today's game, good man indeed. He is the guy behind Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. And also, if he's doing it, I've scheduled at 10:30 a Lakers nightcap with Joe Soro. It is Ox1947. And Joe, the defense, you're right, no D in offense. There is no D in offense. It wasn't pretty by any stretch of the imagination. The lack of communication got caught with many mismatches, just terrible recoveries. Transition defense was awful. Everything that you could say bad about the Lakers defense is right. But the Lakers found enough offense and got a lot of calls to help them out to win the game tonight.
For those of you who've watched Indiana play this year, you knew they were going to score. The Lakers were scoring so well that they almost scored 100 points in 3 quarters, and yet the Lakers were okay. And that's what it took to win tonight. It was a foregone conclusion that this was going to be a track meet, and it was exactly that. I'm just happy that the Lakers met it and exceeded it, and it's a lot of the help from Spencer Dinwiddie in covering for D'Angelo Russell. I was actually worried when I found out that D'Angelo wasn't playing because they needed that offensive firepower. I knew that they wouldn't stop anybody regardless, but I was worried that they weren't going to be able to keep up with Indiana, and luckily they did. As far as the officiating, I don't. I think people need to really watch games sometimes and understand what's going on. Just because a team has more free throws, and I noticed this a lot with Golden State when the Lakers would play Golden State. Golden State was shooting the entire game and had what, 5, 6 foul attempts. Well, how are you going to get foul attempts if you're just shooting all game? 48 minutes, all they were doing was shooting. No one was going to the basket. No one was doing any pick and rolls at the elbow or anything close to being in any way aggressive in trying to draw fouls. So there's a difference. There's a difference between a team that's aggressive and getting to the basket and getting calls versus someone who keeps shooting. And Indiana Pacers are the Golden State Warriors of the East. All they know how to do is shoot. They don't know how to do anything else. So they need to understand. If Carlisle's gonna complain, then he's obviously wearing his Pacer glasses and not paying attention to the game.
They shot 36 threes, just to give you an idea what they did tonight. Out of their 107 shots, they shot 36 threes. To give you an example, the Lakers only shot 25 because the Lakers were finding it with the Indiana Pacers' terrible defense, Joe. Very easy to go ahead and be aggressive inside, finding the lanes, finding as far as, just as long as the ball was moving, it made good things happen on the inside for the Lakers.
If anything, I think both teams should be embarrassed. The league should be embarrassed, and Adam Silver should be embarrassed that you have all-star games now being played in the regular season. That's what your league has turned into. I don't care how it looks. Offense is nice, but not this much. There needs to be some resistance. There needs to be some kind. These guys are not more skilled than guys from 20 years ago. I'm sorry, they're not that skilled. They're not that skilled. The rules have allowed this kind of offensive output, and it's a combination also of the fact that players just don't give a crap about defense anymore. They don't care about competition. They just care about getting their numbers. They've always cared about their numbers. Athletes have always, in a lot of ways, been arrogant a-holes. But now it's not even that used to be reserved for more of like the upper echelon guys or the guys that are at the cusp, and then they end up getting knocked down a notch when they realize they're not those guys. But now everyone has the same attitude. Everyone has the same feeling on, well, I'm just going to get mine. I'm going to get my scoring on. I don't really need to worry about defense. And the coaches can't do anything because as soon as they discipline any of these guys, they get fired. But this was kind of an embarrassing game as an NBA product. But you did enjoy that they understood the assignment tonight, knowing that Indiana is a scoring machine, and they exceeded that. So that part was good because it was 100% that this was going to be what happened. I didn't know they were going to score 150. Actually, I thought they were going to score 150 after the third end. I was like, yeah, this team's going to score 150. But I thought maybe it'd be like 130, 120. But this was I mean, I think if you edit the game, you could just edit all the defense out, just play the offense. You'll have it done in about probably 20 minutes.
Once again, it is the Lakers winning 150-145. It is Joe Soro, aka Ox1947 for LakersBall.com, and Simblades with Y.com, along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. The Lakers again are 39-32, ninth place in Western Conference as they head out on this all-important road trip starting on Tuesday in Milwaukee. Joe, I want to ask you this. Yes, the defense was abysmal and the attention to defense was abysmal. This reminded me so much because Adam Silver went out of his way to talk to the refs and note to the refs, you cannot call as many fouls. We have to do what we can to try and reduce the amount of offense teams were scoring in the league. And it seemed to work for a little while. It seemed to work. But after watching tonight, it's not perfect. What we see is out there. And it just seems to me, like you said, from a defensive standpoint, it's really disappointing when you have these type of games.
There just seems to be a complaint after every game in the NBA. There's no hold. There's no control over the league anymore with these executives. They're at the behest. That's why you never let players run your league. This is the result of the fact that you allowed the players to dictate terms so much lately, and you're so concerned about TV contracts and making sure that you get as much money as you can, which, yeah, I know that's what it's going to be, but your product will suffer, and maybe it won't. I don't know. Maybe the gambling is enough to cover. Maybe the gambling is enough to cover us. Maybe the leagues don't care about the diehard fans anymore. Maybe they know that we'll be there anyways, and we'll just sit there and complain about it. Kind of like Star Wars fans. Star Wars fans that I know that hate movies that are Star Wars, yet they go watch it 8 times in the theater. Things like that. So we're that right now. I am that right now. I am continuing to watch the product, but I will say this: I'm watching it because I do a podcast and I enjoy doing it. If I wasn't doing a podcast, I probably wouldn't be watching the games as much as I do. There's still a heart there for the Lakers. Don't get me wrong; I'll always be there, but there needs to be some tweaking a little bit here. This is stupid, and a lot of it has to do with the players deciding whether they want to have pride in what they're doing and actually represent something for once that doesn't have to always include money. The more money these clowns make, the worse they get. The people who didn't make as much money as these guys cared a little bit more. I think the irony there is hilarious. But tonight was a win, and the Lakers. I kind of wish that AD had come back in that Golden State game. We may have had a chance to win out in these last 4 home games before we went off on the road. But at this point, it doesn't look like it matters. Dallas has won 3 in a row. The Lakers have won 3 in a row. I think it's looking like the Lakers might be in that 9th spot to play Golden State or Houston if
They're one game back, Joe. Of
yeah,
Houston.
or Houston, and I'd rather play Golden State at home than Houston. Houston is a bad matchup. Plus, Udoka's, he's
They have 4 of their key players out in Houston, and they've won 8 in a row.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting run here for the Warriors if they end up getting bounced here in the play-in. Look for wholesale changes there. I think that's going to probably finally be the straw that breaks it.
Wilmar, I wanted to go ahead and thank you. If you're a new viewer, go ahead and please follow us to get the latest notifications on Facebook for the Lakers Fast Break. He said, play aggressive defense and increase the chances of getting injured in the process. Players are just wiser now. You can win games by shooting the ball. In the end, Lakers won and no one got hurt. That is more important. Yes, the Lakers won and no one got hurt. Obviously, that's a good thing. But I guess Wilmar is saying that you increase your chances of getting hurt by playing aggressive defense. So maybe he said that's why he's reasoning why that teams are as a whole, the league as a whole is less concerned with the defensive end this year.
Yeah, no, sorry. I don't agree with that. These are top-notch athletes. A lot of these guys are in their mid-20s. You can play hard defense and offense for 82 games a year, especially when you're making $30 and $40 and $50 million a year. If you want to say LeBron can't do it, yeah, there's an exception there. But no, sorry. I think a lot of the reasons why they don't play defense is because they don't give a crap. And the league doesn't give a crap, and Adam Silver doesn't seem to have an option or any way of stopping it. The game doesn't. It looks cheap. The game looks cheap with this kind of offensive output with no defense. I saw God knows how many backdoor layups and just people just standing around with their thumb up their ass. To me, that's just pure not giving a crap. Not I don't want to get hurt. Look, if you don't want to get hurt, then don't play sports and go sit down, and you can sit on your thumb on a bench and not get hurt too. But I like quality. That's my thing. I'm always preaching quality. I get a lot of crap for supporting Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, because I like greatness. I like to see dominance because that's what you want to see in a competition. And when you see someone that is dominant and is great, you want to continue to see how far that greatness can go. Mediocrity sucks. Okay. C's suck. I had a lot of C's in college, and yeah, I graduated, but I look back on it, I'm like, I should have gotten A's. A moron should be able to do this. But the Lakers are gonna have a nice task here to figure out who they really are. I truly believe this next 6 games on the road are gonna tell us who they really are for real this time. They're gonna go on this road trip, and that we're gonna see what they're about. This last stand. It's gonna be this last stand to see if they're gonna be like, look, if Spencer Dinwiddie can get us what he got us tonight, a little bit of that. We know that Gabe Vincent's not coming back. We know Jared Vanderbilt's not coming back. Taurean Prince is Taurean Prince. Jackson Hayes is Jackson Hayes. Lakers can, if they can at least get one guy off that bench that can be consistent, something anywhere near what Spencer Dinwiddie did tonight, and everybody's healthy, all the starting 5 healthy going in to this last stretch, we can maybe see if there's something there. But it's going to be difficult because, again, they're going to have to win 2 games to just get an 8 seed, and they're playing Russian roulette on who's going to end up on top. If it's Denver, it's not going to be good for the Lakers. The matchup there is not good, especially in the first round.
JSJ, I know Louis has been in the chat. He was there for our entire game as far as the simulcast is concerned, and I appreciate him for stopping by. And you know, he is not a Lakers fan, and Lakers fans, non-Lakers fans are welcome here as long as they provide a conversation. If it disagrees with yours, prove them wrong. Prove them wrong. The Lakers need to prove Louis wrong if that's the case. And the thing is, Robert's mentioning it that he thinks that they can catch the Suns because the Suns have the toughest remaining schedule to end the season. But Robert, before you say that, which again, I know you, from what I've seen your posts, you're very optimistic, and more power to you on that. But Joe, they go out on the road now on a 6-game road trip, 2 back-to-backs, and the Lakers are by far of the 10 teams, because Houston's not there yet, of the 10 teams in the Western Conference play-in or playoff mix, they are by far and away the worst team on the road. If the Lakers are going to get anything done this season, Joe, they have to start winning on the road, and they have to start doing it now.
Yes. I'd like to see LeBron AD play against Milwaukee on Tuesday. And then if one of them wants to sit, especially specifically LeBron, for Wednesday's game for Memphis, I'd say that's probably the best course of action. Mm-hmm. Although LeBron's had a habit of skipping the higher.
Well, he's played 62 games, so he only needs 3 more to get the limit.
The higher he tends to take the higher difficulty day off and then come back on the lower difficulty game. But I'd like to see him play against Milwaukee. I'd like everyone to be playing in the Milwaukee game to see if you can steal that win. Then the following night, you play in Memphis. Memphis is not as good this year by far. Maybe you can win that game with LeBron sitting. Then you have a day off to play Indiana. I've kind of scratched that as a loss. Right now, I kind of have worst case, I'd say I can see a loss in Milwaukee, a loss in Indiana, and a loss in Toronto, just because it's Toronto, even though Toronto's not.
Oh, they always play bad in Toronto.
Yeah. And then a win against Memphis, a win against Brooklyn, and a win against Washington. Although I would like to see if they could get out of there 4-2. So a loss in Milwaukee, win in Memphis, loss in Indiana, and then finishing off those last 3 games with wins against Brooklyn, Toronto, and Washington. If they can come out of there 4-2, it would be a really, really good road trip. Then they come back and they play a back-to-back with Cleveland and Minnesota. I'm going to say they're probably going to split those. And then they're going to play Golden State for the last time in the regular season on April 9th. I think they're due a win there at home. I think they win there. They beat Memphis, and then at that point, they probably solidify a spot at some point there. They'll probably sit the New Orleans game.
Come
I
on,
think
guys.
that's how it's going to play off. Yeah.
No, that's good reasoning there, Joe. But come on, guys. If he's not a Lakers fan, that's fine. Just constructive conversation. Not everybody that has to be a part of what we're doing here at the Lakers Fast Break has to be a Lakers fan. If he feels that the Lakers get the call from the refs and all that stuff he was saying, prove him wrong. Prove him wrong. That's the best way you can get back at someone, is to prove them wrong. And the Lakers need to prove a lot of people wrong, Joe, because right now, again, 9th place in the Western Conference, tough road trip coming up, coming off a night where, again, they did do what they needed to do at the line. They made the free throws. They were the more aggressive team. Refs or not, they made the calls. They put the onus on the refs to make the calls, and they got the win. They deserve the win despite the bad defense tonight, Joe.
This was one game I would say that we knew, or at least I knew, that this would be a track meet. It's just what it is. We still have to mention, I always have to mention the product because it's important. It's easy to quit and stop watching and cry like a baby and, I'm not happy and I want to leave. I think my thing is I don't mind these kind of games with the right team that you're playing. Some teams you're forced to play a certain way. I just don't want it every game. I would like some balance between defense and offense. And one of the reasons why I love the 2020 team so much was I felt that had that team stayed together, they had snuffed out the 7-second or less Steph Curry era basketball. That was kind of what was exciting beyond the obviously with the title win was number one, but right next to was the fact that they were able to really, really contain that new wave offense. And I thought it was going to start carrying from there. And I thought there would be copycats like there is in everything in sports. And unfortunately that the Lakers couldn't sustain that dominance because they adjust, right? So when the Lakers winning championships in the early 2000s, they at some point had to adjust so much that they had to change the rules. They had to implement the zone so that Shaq didn't kill everybody, right? This is Shaq at 400 pounds that still was dominating people. So they finally had to go, well, the Spurs kind of play a 1-2-2 disguise zone anyways. They don't get called for it as much because they're smart enough to kind of get it going and then get it out quick. But then once they were allowed to in 2003, it wasn't a surprise that the San Antonio Spurs ended up taking out the Lakers in that playoff run. Lakers don't have anything like that now. They don't have the personnel to do it. The Lakers are going to have to win a championship playing like the way they play tonight. They're going to have to outscore everyone. The problem is things slow down in the NBA, even in this culture. And there's no better half-court offense than the Denver Nuggets. That's the problem.
Darren, a lot of the issues started right around the beginning of the fourth quarter. Joe, I know you saw it as well when Ham made the call to go without LeBron and AD, and a lot of that 19-point lead evaporated. Just the momentum that Indiana was getting from that without LeBron and AD. I thought that was a bad call on the part of Ham. He easily could have had LeBron or AD in there, could have stretched the lead beyond 20. Instead, it went the other way, and they almost got caught up to the Lakers, but not quite.
I don't mind once in a while seeing if something will work, especially when you're up 17 or 19 points. It's when you're down 5 or up 5 that he does that. Then I'm going, what the hell are you doing? It just goes to show you that their depth is just not there. It's just not there.
I get that.
They have to have one of those guys in there at all times. If there was a time to do it, he did
Especially with no D'Lo. That's the hurt part.
Especially without D'Lo. D'Lo could balance it out. But I thought Spencer really kept it in line. Yeah. I think he replaced them tonight. Had he not had this kind of game, it would have been a loss.
Yeah.
So that was probably the most encouraging thing tonight was Spencer kind of got angry the other day about his discussion in Brooklyn and how things went that way, and he got a little bit of flack from people because that's what people do, right? Well, what does that have to do with what's going on now, right? Oh, well, I was starting in Brooklyn, blah blah blah. Doesn't matter, and it matters now because it actually put a fire in him. He was hitting shots tonight that I hadn't seen him hit in 5 years.
Or when last time you saw him hit that was against the Phoenix Suns when he was a member of the Dallas Mavericks in that playoff series when him,
Correct.
Brunson, and Luka were going crazy. And that's still as an NBA fan, that's fun to watch that game, especially the last game where they blew them out in Phoenix. That was just hilarious.
Yeah, Rick Carlisle is the king of the 2-0 timeout. You have a 2-0 run and you'll call a timeout.
Mm-hmm.
Rick Carlisle, when I found out about Rondo basically telling him to go, himself, I could relate to how Rondo felt. Of course, everyone was blaming Rondo. Everyone likes Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle is an obnoxious coach in a lot of ways. Not not in terms of personality, like a Steve Kerr or Greg Popovich. I'm talking the way he executes the basketball rhythm. He's just an irritating coach. How he calls timeouts real quick, how he just doesn't stop meddling. He should have been a college coach. I think he would have been better there for 30, 40 years at one school. But it's interesting, talking about Spencer Dinwiddie and how a lot of times these guys, they know that the skills are starting to diminish, and then they start talking to themselves and saying, "Well, this is why." It's okay, Spencer. We get it. You're getting older, and your skills aren't going to be good. All we're asking as Laker fans, and as I'm sure the Laker team is just play smart basketball. And when you have an open shot, try to see if you can hit 40% of it, and you'll be fine. The Lakers have a really good starting five when they're on. If you can just get one guy off the bench that can spell something. We talked about this with LeBron. If Spencer could spell LeBron a little bit in those grueling playoff games, it would go a long way for him to be effective and the Lakers to be effective at the same time. That's all we can think of. That's all we can say at this point. There's going to hopefully be 6 guys that are going to contribute, maybe 7 if Jackson Hayes can continue to do what he's been doing for about 10, 12 minutes a game at the center position.
He's got to step up defensively. He was awful.
He's just not a player like him playing against the track stars like this. He has no chance. He doesn't have the footwork to keep up with it. He doesn't have the processing to for angles and where, what, and how. It's just not there. If it was there, Jackson Hayes would probably be a very good NBA player, but he doesn't. He has amazing athleticism. He's got heart, and he plays as well as he can play. He gives effort. He's a good teammate, but he doesn't have the fundamentals. He doesn't have that gear where he can use that athleticism that he has to really impact the game in and game out. He just doesn't have it. It's something that you just either you develop it as you're an NBA player or you don't. He got drafted because of his size and athleticism. A lot of times that happens. But once the brain doesn't process quick enough, once the fundamentals and the footwork aren't there when you need them, and of course, if you can't shoot on top of that in a league like this, yeah, you're playing behind the 8 ball at that point your whole career and hoping that you can contribute in some way to stay on a team. And that's who Jackson Hayes is. And he's been better than I thought he would be. So I can't really go beyond that with him. I don't see him improving in the playoffs for whatever reason. I see it being much more difficult.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so again for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. The Lakers do win 150 to 145. They're now 39 and 32, still ninth place, but they move a full game ahead of the Golden State Warriors, who lost earlier this evening. They're now 2.5 games in front of the Golden State Warriors in ninth place in the Western Conference. So, Joe, again, as we mentioned earlier, the Lakers march out on a very important road trip, most important road trip of the season. And for a team that is, as I mentioned to JSJ, because he was talking about any chance we get the 8th seed to face the 7th seed. First off, JSJ, they got to play better on the road. 12 and 20 on the season is not going to get it done. You got to show a lot of confidence and you've got to execute better on the road in order to win, especially the fact you're going to be playing a whole bunch of road games in the playoffs, even if you make the playoffs. So your thoughts on how important this road trip is to the Los Angeles Lakers?
It's important. It's just not likely they're going to jump above 9.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
So that means they're going to play either Golden State or Houston. And then they have to play probably Phoenix or Dallas, if I had to guess. Phoenix has a brutal stretch left. So I think it's going to be Dallas or Phoenix. I think Sacramento will squeak in at the 6.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
Okay.
And it could be a flip. It could be Dallas or Sacramento. I for sure think Phoenix is going to be a 7 or an 8 when
but it's so fun. But what's so funny, Joe, is if let's say Houston doesn't make it. It's so funny because your playing matchups or the road to get into the playoffs has to go through either a Curry, has to go through a Sabonis and Fox, has to go through a Luka and Kyrie, or it has to go through a Booker and Kevin Durant. It's not easy any which way you slice it, Joe.
No. The seeding was important this year to allow yourself to be in a position where you can at least have a shot at winning a series. Instead, you're going to be playing a mini series before you have to go into the first series. And worse than that is you're playing very, very competitive teams that usually give you problems. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And your reward if you were to get through the play-in with 2 wins is likely Denver. Unless the Oklahoma City Thunder can get on a roll here and really, really separate themselves a little bit.
They got killed tonight, so I don't think that's happening.
Yeah. It's a disappointment. It's a disappointment because I have a really good feeling that should they get out of the play-in, they're going to play Denver, and that's the worst matchup they can have in the first round. They needed to play someone that wasn't as experienced, like an Oklahoma City Thunder or a Minnesota team that doesn't have Karl Anthony Towns likely for the first round.
And Denver will have the home court advantage again.
Yeah, so they're going to play behind first 2 games on the road, and even if they did squeak out a win in one of those 2 games, Denver plays the Lakers very well in LA anyways. It's just because they have a matchup problem with the Nuggets. But I'd say, my main concern right now is a team that's won 9 in a row, that's really focused. Looks like Boston is going to go make a run here, and I'm worried about that right now more than even the Lakers. I'm worried that this season will get worse, much worse, than the Lakers losing in the playoffs or in the play-in.
How so?
Because if the Celtics get number 18, it basically washes what we were hoping for the last 5 years.
Oh yeah, we won't hear the end of it. They'll come
well,
on.
I'm not worried about that. There's no Boston people here where I'm at. It's just.
Oh no, in our chat they'll come on our chat for sure.
I don't think so. It's just the Lakers should have had 18 by now.
Oh yeah, I agree.
They should have had 18 by now, but they butchered their team when they didn't have to. So that's my worry. It's probably where a lot of my angst comes from. If the Celtics weren't a threat right now, I think I'd be okay. I'd be like, well, we'll run how we are. And then again, I might be giving them too much credit. The East is the East, right? We'll have to see what really comes with that. Jason Tatum always struggles in clutch moments shooting, especially in those games. And the fact that they've been going deep into the playoffs for the last 4 years, are they going to run out of gas again? Are they going to meet a team that punks them at home? Who knows? But right now, this is 2 years in a row where we were constantly worried about draft slots and the Celtics and the Lakers and all that. I just, if anything, I don't mind not getting to the finals and winning a title as long as the Celtics don't. I think that would be a nice, especially with what's coming for their team. They're going to have to pay Tatum a supermax contract, which means their team that's already thin in terms of the depth department are going to be even thinner.
And that's going to be the problem.
This could be their last run with this team should they lose.
And that will be much to discuss. Absolutely. So we're going to have to take a look into that. But yeah, it is going to be something that we're going to be talking about constantly here. And this, as the Lakers go out on this road trip, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Gerald Glassford along with Joe Soro. Please check out Joe Soro at LakersBall.com. Go ahead and make sure that you are part of what he's doing as Ox1947 there. And also, of course, Simblades with a Y.com. And remember, we're going to be constantly bringing you shows on the road. I think Stone Hansen will be a big part of what we're doing on the road because of a lot of these East Coast games. So definitely looking forward to that. But before we head on out, I actually want to go ahead and cover a little bit more before Joe goes on at 10:30 on Streamlabs/Talk Studio, just to let you know. That's already set up for you right there. But before Joe comes on for his nightcap at 10:30, want to go ahead and ask Joe real quick as far as what the Lakers with the victory tonight, 6-3. Do you think that's a good homestand? 6-3 so far, as on the home in the month of March. Do you think that was really when it comes right down to, or do you think they needed to capitalize on it a little bit more?
It's better than what they've been the whole year. Had 80 not gotten hurt with his eye, I think they beat Golden State. They probably finished 7-2, which is, that's always good, no matter how bad or good you're playing. But the road trip's going to tell them a little bit about themselves.
That's true.
That's what's going to happen. If they get out of there 4 out of 6, they feel probably pretty good about themselves. Even though we know it's probably going to be a 9th seed, it's not going to be a lot of changes there. So they come back 4-2, let's say. Then they finish off the last 5 games 3-2. Okay. You have the 9th seed. You're going to play Houston or Golden State. You beat them. Then you're going to have to face either Phoenix, Sacramento, or Dallas. And I don't know who's worse. Maybe Sacramento.
Maybe catch Phoenix.
But I have a really nice feel. Really, it would be poetic. It would be poetic if it was Sacramento and we ended up bouncing out of the playoffs. So there's some positive there if they did face Sacramento, because Sacramento would probably play a little tight, knowing that it means they might get there. I trust LeBron and AD more than I trust Fox or Sabonis in a big game, even this late in their careers. And I think that would be somewhat of a win. If I had to put a nice scenario together, they beat Golden State, bounce them out. They play Sacramento, bounce them out, and then face Oklahoma City in the 1 seed as an 8 seed. I think that would play out the best for the Lakers if they can make that happen.
Chase, a new viewer, please like and subscribe. Thank you for joining us here. He's asking where you would rank LeBron on an all-time Lakers list.
That's a tough one, Chase, because Lakers have a whole. Lakers' second string guys could be number ones on almost half the teams in the NBA. I'd say because he's brought a championship to LA, he's probably second team, and that would also be based off of, are we going by position or are we going by just top five? Best small forward, Lakers small forward, in my view, is James Worthy. But then you can also say Elgin Baylor too. But I didn't see Elgin Baylor play. But you have to go with Elgin Baylor at that point. Elgin Baylor is the best small forward that ever played for the Lakers.
What about LeBron, a power forward?
LeBron isn't really a power forward. He's a small forward. He's a point forward. Power forward, there'd be a spot there for him because there's Vern Mickelson, there's Pau Gasol. Those are only two Laker greats that played power forward. Obviously, I didn't see Vern Mickelson play, and Pau Gasol is always going to be my pick because he's one of my favorite players and changed history and changed a culture that was on the downward spiral at that point, and a legacy too for Kobe. But we're going by position if that's the case. LeBron is a small forward. If you want to put in, just like Tim Duncan as a power forward, LeBron is a small forward. So if you're going by position, you put him in at the second spot, let's say. That's where I would have him. If he had won 3 championships, you could probably replace James Worthy with him. Maybe even 2.
Okay.
And that's not downgrading LeBron's status. It's
but just as a Laker.
You're talking about a guy that's played with the Lakers for 12 years who, let's say James Worthy as an example. James Worthy, the Lakers don't win a championship in '88 without James Worthy, right? He was gigantic in that whole series, that whole playoff run. And he was the ultimate team player, and he was an identifier. He was a guy that made Dennis Rodman go nuts. When you make somebody like Dennis Rodman go nuts, and this is the same Dennis Rodman who felt like he never had a problem guarding Shaq, yet he did not like guarding James Worthy. That's how good James Worthy was. So LeBron, second team all-time Laker right now as we speak. Okay.
Again, that's not. I know you're going to probably get some hate. In fact, I was uncovering a lot of.
There's no hate. No one would hate that. That's a common sense.
Just the opinions will be flying as I uncovered a whole bunch. In fact, I looked into the inappropriate, the ones that YouTube flags. I had not looked there in quite some time, and I saw a whole ton of
what?
I saw a whole ton of inappropriate comments or potentially inappropriate comments that YouTube flagged, that they put it in a different section. So I never check it. I've never checked it because I didn't know. I forgot it was there. And I looked at it the other day, and it was just like all these inappropriate comments. Some were by you, but most were about something that you had said. So it was kind of funny how that played out and how that laid out. So yeah, as far as people are very expressive about one way or another things that you say on the show. But it is Joe Soro. He will be coming up here in 9 minutes with the Lakers nightcap. What's coming up for the nightcap for Lakers? Anything Ohtani related as well?
We'll have to play it by ear and see. He's going to make his first interview on Monday, tomorrow, to address.
How big a trouble is he in?
He's not.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no evidence of him being involved at all.
Okay.
The only thing Major League Baseball cares about is whether he made the bets. If he didn't make the bets, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
And the noise for baseball right now is good. They like the noise. It's bringing a lot of pub to the team.
Okay. Well, Xbox, it's up to the crowd tonight for the Lakers nightcap with Joe Soro. If it leans one way or another, I mean, a lot of people do.
I'll be on my own tonight unless Gerald comes on. We'll talk basketball. Don't worry, Xbox. I got you.
No worries. I just always want to hear, because Joe's such an ardent Dodgers fan, and this potentially could affect the Dodgers going forward. Is it a distraction? Did they just go ahead and discard off? The baseball season is the best in regards to that, joke, because it's 162 games. So if you get distracted, it's not like it'll affect you for like weeks on end. It's just like you play so many damn games. It's just like you move it beyond it pretty easily.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's still the Lakers nightcap. I spoke Dodgers with Jeff the other night because it was just how the show went, and we're gonna be setting up. I'm gonna tease a little bit of we're gonna be having a show here soon where Jeff's gonna explain the veto, the CP3 veto that might change your thoughts on what actually happened. And it surprised me. I'm sure you guys have noticed I haven't been dogging on David Stern the last few months. You'll find out why when we bring on Jeff on the Lakers nightcap, probably sometime this week.
Sounds good.
And then he will explain what really happened behind the scenes. And one thing that Jeff and I talked about the other night that needs to be clear is at some point here in the near future, there's going to be a crowd. There's going to be a new media circle around the Lakers, LA sports to some degree. And I believe we're going to be a part of that circle. We're the new wave media people. So this is not all by accident, the discussions. Even Siskel and Ebert, as goofy as they were in the 70s, 80s, it took time for them to bring in an audience where at some point there was the movie industry was going, who are these clowns looking like they're, just sitting around ball playing with their own, what's talking about stuff. Well, a few years later, so people are listening to them, and the movies depended on it. So that's part of the excitement. So all the vitriol that you see behind the scenes, the comments, a lot of times those comments are because the loyalty that people have. And I understand it. We for the Kobe fans out there, anytime somebody says something bad about Kobe, the initial reaction is to be defensive. But and it's warranted in a lot of ways. Like, well, Kobe was a ball hog. Well, tell me why he was a ball hog. Did you watch the games? Did you know why he didn't pass? And then when you find out why he didn't pass, it's in interviews, folks. It's not something I'm making up. You didn't see people putting in the effort. More info is coming out about Shaq and what he was doing during those times and why Kobe got so angry with him. Because Shaq said himself to Kobe, I knew you would come in shape. I just did whatever I wanted to do. So if Kobe didn't feel like you earned it, he wouldn't pass you the ball. That was the whole point of it. It wasn't because he was selfish. And again, do I really have to explain this? The guy won 5 championships. With Shaq, without Shaq, with Gasol, without Gasol, with Bynum at center, with Samaki Walker at power forward. Like, the guy won in every angle. So all this ball hog stuff and his lack of field goal percentage, it doesn't matter in the end. It's about the wins. This is the same guy who won 24 series against 50-win teams. This is the part that bothers. This is the one thing that I am on hard on. Competition. LeBron has beaten 9 teams that have won 50 games in the playoffs. That's 15 series difference between Kobe and LeBron. That's a lot. My number might have gone up. I think it was an old statistic. It might have gone up to 12, I think, the last time I checked, but it's considerable. Competition matters, folks. It does matter. So that's some of the stuff that LeBron fans don't like when I talk about the truth. Now, where Kobe screwed up the most, and this is something I talk about not enough about, is I think he screwed up a lot. 04. 04 was the biggest screw up. And it cost not only the Lakers a championship, it cost the United States a gold medal. That's something no one talks about. And Kobe admitted it was his fault that they lost to Detroit. So everybody admitted things that we've said. So what are you getting mad about? Now, LeBron is never going to admit fault, because LeBron, the same reason why LeBron is great is in a lot of ways the same reason why people are not great. You know, the narcissism, the narcissistic traits, the loving of oneself so much to the point where you can't think of anything bad. You know, those things are all part of that whole greatness part. Sometimes you need that conceitedness to go up the next level. But then again, there's a bad side to it too. And with that, I'll talk more about this since Xbox is determined to not hear any Dodger baseball, just want to hear Lakers. I will continue this on the Lakers Nightcap. So with that, I bid you adieu. Is that how you do it?
Yes, bid you adieu, adieu, adieu.
And I will see you guys here in a few minutes.
Streamlabs.
You got it.
All right, my friend. See you soon. I'll try to go ahead and get there as best I can to go ahead and make sure that you have a little bit of company, but that's after I upload this to the audio. But before we head on out, everyone, I want to go ahead and give everyone an update on what's going on with the ESPN Tournament Challenge. I have not seen the updates as far as it's concerned until just now. So let me go ahead and I'll see if I can get this a little bit closer for you guys out there. So with that being said, I zoomed in a little bit. Let's see what I've got. And for our crowd, the Statman Ones picks is winning right now with a 88% percentage. He's been right on. Wow, that's pretty darn good. Modem Wizards picks are 82.9%. Kurt Affair in third place. Good for you, Kurt. 74%. ESPN Fan 7097 is 67.3. The bracket of brackets. And you see right there is those teams, whether it's the University of Houston, you see North Carolina, those are the teams that they picked to go all the way. They've got 60%. Then you've got Stone and me at 54.1. We're both hurting right now in sixth place. So to give you an idea, that's how bad of a first round I had, as now we get into the Sweet 16. So the first two rounds, that's how bad I picked. I told you, my picks, they don't really last the weekend. Nick Molina's right behind us in eighth, then Frank, and then Bloodhound forgot to go ahead. We appreciate you stopping by, but he forgot to do the picks. So that leaves you with my annual on that. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that there. I'm going to present another screen, what I absolutely do each and every time out. So before Joe goes on the air, want to go ahead and give you my annual what happens when I pick and I do my brackets. This is by the end of the first weekend, and there you go. It is David Caruso with the car exploding. Yes, because those are my picks right there in that car blowing up every single year. I like doing it. It's fun. I try to see if I can impress myself, and I didn't do it again this year, but that meme will go out later on my personal social media as I once again failed to go ahead and pick correctly. But appreciate everyone stopping by. Appreciate everyone that was able to go ahead and put in their picks for the NCAA Tournament Challenge right there on ESPN. John, just go ahead to Joe's Nightcap and ask him you want some baseball talk. Maybe you and Xbox can have. I know Xbox said he wanted some cricket talk, so maybe Joe will talk some cricket tonight. And again, I'll try to be there as soon as I can. Just want to go ahead and make sure I upload the postgame to audio, so we'll get that done. But yes, once again, it is the Lakers 150 to 145. Looking forward to seeing what we can do on Monday, setting you up for the road trip. The all-important road trip for this year is going to happen. It's going to happen here on Tuesday, starting on Tuesday. Looking forward to seeing if you will be a part of it, and we'll go ahead and get you prepped for it on Monday. But looking forward to doing that. Joe is live right now on the Lakers Nightcap. So for Joe Soro, it's Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. I'll be back hopefully later tonight with Joe, but I'll definitely be back with something good tomorrow for you right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.